Hey everybody, and welcome to NISAW 2026 National Invasive Species Week. We have been talking all week about different types of coastal invasive species, and today we're going to be talking about one that's relatively new to our area. It's been in South Florida for a little while, but they've been, in last year, have been found here in the Florida Panhandle. And one of the guys who found it first and has been kind of spearheading is Okaloosa County Marine Resource, is Alex Fogg. Thanks for joining us, Alex.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Sure, yeah, it's great. Tell us a little bit about this snail.
Yeah, so while it's National Invasive Species Week, we don't know if these snails are actually invasive. They're not from here, they're not supposed to be here, but we don't know if there's any sort of impacts that are happening. So this snail, or Thrush Cowrie, ended up showing up down in South Florida, down in certain parts of the Caribbean, oh gosh, a few years ago, really not that long ago. And then all of a sudden we started seeing them on some of our nearshore snorkel reef sites and here underneath this Okaloosa Island pier. Now, we aren't allowed to dive on the pier, the public's not allowed to dive on the pier, but when we're out there swapping out equipment, we do surveys to see how many are here. And on any given day, we could go out and get hundreds of these small snails, from juveniles all the way up to adults. So they're obviously sticking around here, they're starting to show up in pretty high abundance, and we're trying to assess whether or not they are impacting the system here or not.
Yeah, we've actually had a couple of questions about that. What's the negative impact of this? And we're not quite sure of that, but the thing is, if you got 100 on one pole, that's probably not good.
Exactly.
Too much. If you're going to do it now.
Exactly. So, we're going to keep monitoring it. We really ask the public if they find them while they're walking the beach. Sometimes they might find them alive or even just the shell, or if they're out diving any of the artificial reefs or natural reefs, please let us know. We don't need the snail, we don't need to keep the shell, but we want to know to kind of track the spread, track the changes in abundance, and just keep an eye on their populations.
Okay. Any idea how they got here? I mean, it's just such a weird gap.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's all the invasive species, especially marine invasive species. It could be ballast water, it could be, an aquarium owner just dumping it in the water, but it's most likely ballast water, it coming over in an oil rig or something like that.
Now, I think typically all the literature will say they're relatively shallow water.
They are.
So a lot of public, I mean, actually we've had a couple over in Escambia County found literally right on the beach.
Yeah, I mean, after a rough day like we've been having, I would not be surprised that if you walk the beach right now, if you found a few that maybe washed up. But they like that, 10 to 30 feet of water. You can actually see them on big high seas days. They actually become exposed out of the water during the trough of a wave, and you can see them right here on the pilings. So they like that shallow water, but we're also finding them out deep. We're finding them in over 100 feet of water. Not in the same sort of abundance that we find them in shallow, but they're there, which is definitely different. So we're taking those animals and we're actually sending them off to University of Florida to do some genetics, just to make sure it's the same species and also validate it as well.
Now, as far as salinity is concerned, they could be in the intercoastal?
They could be in the intercoastal. They like that high salinity, but again, the numbers that we're seeing here near shore is right here along the beach is where the abundance is really at. And
all the reports I've gotten so far have been either from the piers or the near shore snorkel reefs and things like that. But I understand they could be on seawalls.
Yeah, seawalls. I mean, any sort of man-made structure, any reef, you're going to find them. They can eventually get blown off if the seas are high because they're in that shallow water. So there's a lot of energy that's stirring them up, and they can end up right on the beach. But there's a lot of people who maybe don't know that this is an invasive species or non-native species.
Right.
So they may just think it's one of our native cowries. So when in doubt, reach out to Sea Grant, reach out to your county marine resources team. We can validate it and at least record the data so that we can track this invasion.
One of the things we're trying to do with this video, because if you found them here, you contacted us, we started finding them in Escambia. I've read they're in Bay County.
Oh, they're the whole Panhandle.
All right, so probably Gulf County, because this video will go to all of them. So even Alabama.
And this is relatively new. I mean, when did we start talking about this? Last summer?
Yeah,
so it really hasn't been that long, but then when we started pushing out some videos about it and started educating the public about it, we started getting people saying, oh, I found one back in January, oh, I found one last year, and they show us a picture, and sure enough, they were here a while ago. It just takes a little while for the detections to really increase.
And people will know that we're looking for them.
Exactly.
That's the thing, which we hope with this video. Now, as far we're going to be seeing pictures of this thing during the video, on the size-wise, they're small.
They are small, yeah. I mean, the world record's like not even 3 inches, something like that. So they're relatively small, but they have a beautiful shell, really shiny shell. So it's definitely something that a lot of shell collectors like to collect when they find them dead, washed up on the beach.
And the other thing I know, I've had some of the folks over in Escambia County report, they've seen evidence of octopus going after them.
I'm sure. I mean, if it's probably a yummy morsel for them like any other snail, the octopus doesn't care if it's not from here or not. If it's a good meal, they're going to have it. We've actually captured a bunch from the pier, and we actually have them up in an aquarium up in Crestview.
Oh, okay.
So at our welcome center up in Crestview, you can go and see invasive lionfish. You can also see the non-native cowries all in the same tank.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. I didn't know that. That will make sure everybody knows that too. All right, and so now we got, you know what it is, you can identify it. If someone finds one, what do they do? What's the best thing to do?
So if someone finds one, they can keep it. There's no regulation. You can't keep more than 100 pounds. So that's a lot of cowries. But if you do get it, please reach out to Sea Grant. Please reach out to FWC or any of your local marine resources teams and inform them of what you found, where you found it. We don't want the shell. You can keep the shell. We just want to know where you found it so that we can track the spread of this animal. See if it's increasing, see if nature's taking over to kind of keep this at a respectable level, or if we're starting to see a situation like lionfish where they were all over our artificial reefs.
Right.
So it's information gathering and making the public aware of what we're seeing out there.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you telling us all about it.
Thanks, Rick.
Hopefully the public will call in and let us know.
Cool.
And thanks again.
You.